All right, everyone. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Entertainment and Media. I think I have one person in here already. Hello, whoever you are. Let me make sure. Well, if you can see me, that means that this is broadcasting to YouTube. And I want to bring this feed up myself. Yep, there's the red uh, live icon, which means that we're live. All right. Whoever's there, please give this a like. That will be very, very helpful. All right. And I'm going to share this over on. Oh, I have two comments. I think I know who one of these people is. Oh, Sheed. I thought it was going to be Artisan. What's going on, Sheed? Sheed, as I described, I am planning to be in your area very, very soon. I'm going to share this. Give me a second, everyone. I'm going to share this using my Android so as not to mess with all my equipment here, and then I will start. So let's see, go there. Oh, Abdul Gaines is here too. Abdul Gaines, I've been meaning to reach out to you to chop it up and see how you're doing. The things have been a little quiet without you in terms of the sports coverage. Let's see, big. There we go. Okay, yep. All right, so let me give my video a like, and then let me share it. Discussing. Four. All right. So I just made the announcement over there. So with that, I suspect a few more people will come over. And yeah, so we're going to talk about Captain America 4, Brave New World. And I'm not going to play one of my pre-made intros this time. I have to rejigger those and create something new. My brother, my visual arts director, is joining me tonight to talk about this. So maybe we can come up with a new introduction. But I'm just going to show this artwork here, this slide. Some of you have seen it, and my brother actually created this. Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media, everyone. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar. I am the content creator and the owner for this channel, and I am a bit of a sci-fi geek and a fanboy myself. And tonight we're going to talk about Captain America 4, Brave New World. I keep wanting to say A Brave New World, but it's just Brave New World. Before I jump in, a couple of things. Well, I'm wearing my Face Front t-shirt once again. So shout out to Face Front Blog. That's a channel here on YouTube. It's an interesting concept where characters are fighting and talking and they're in these adventures. Shout out to Joshua, who runs that channel. So this is some of his merch. Face Front Blog. Look up Face Front Blog. Now I'm gonna bring my brother Amahl up shortly, but we were gonna do something before talking about Captain America 4, but we're gonna save that for another installment. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to promote my merch really quickly. So I'm a writer. I just published this book at the end of 2024. This is the Engineers of Western New York basketball story. It's a real life story. It's a bit of an epic. It's about what sports teach you about life, success, and failure. It's a bit of a manhood journey as well. It's a lot of things. It looks like it's just about basketball, but it's about life, and it's about learning to find your way and make your way in the world. And it's a bit of a hero's journey as well. So really, really quickly, this is available on Amazon in the ebook, hardcover, and paperback editions For the hardcover, let's start with the hardcover. The hardcover is available on Amazon for $35 for my YouTube subs. And those of you, let me slow down and pronounce my words. For my subs and those watching this, it's available on Amazon for $35. I'm going to take off 10. Just if you want one, a signed copy, render your payment using one of these methods here on the ticker, but make sure you send me your mailing address so I'll know where to send it. The paperback on Amazon is available for $27. I will do a sale here and take off $7, so it's $20. Same deal. Use one of these methods here and make sure you send me your mailing address so I will know where to send it. You can find me. You can contact me. If no one wants their personal information shown to everybody, but you can contact me at any of these methods here. That email address right there on the second line, and then that's my Twitter, well, my X handle, my Instagram handle, and yeah, I think we changed the Facebook handle there. But if you're interested in one, that's where you can get one. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up my brother Amahl Dunbar, and we are going to have a short discussion on Captain America 4, Brave New World. So with that, everyone, let's welcome up my brother Amahl. He's been here before, and we're going to talk about our thoughts on Captain America 4, Brave New World. If you haven't seen it, there are going to be spoilers, but you have been warned. What's going on, bro?
How are you, bro? Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
My
no,
audio's good.
it's perfect.
Is my audio good?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me, and yeah, we're gonna have a good talk.
Okay.
Okay.
So you don't forget to mute up. Okay. Yeah. Uh, so you saw the movie on Thursday. I just went last night and plopped down my $15 to see it. The movie, there was a lot of controversy surrounding the movie in the lead up. Over the last year, we've heard so much talk about reshoots and skepticism over Anthony Mackie becoming Captain America, taking the shield, taking the mantle from Chris Evans, Captain America. We've heard a lot about that. We've heard a lot about reshoots. We've heard a lot about the name being changed from New World Order. I wasn't opposed to it being New World Order. I like that. We're 80s and 90s kids. So what, well, bro, from your perspective, did you have any trepidation or any issue with Anthony Mackie taking over the mantle, with Falcon taking over the mantle as Captain America?
Well, that actually happened in the comics. Um, I am not that much of a comic book aficionado or historian to say, for how long, Sam was Captain America. I don't know for sure how long, Sam had the shield, but that actually happened in the comic book. So for me, I'm perfectly fine with it. Just as a fan, I just wanted to go and see a great movie.
Okay. T. Riddler says America doesn't want to see a black Captain America. Well, T. Riddler, what I will say is that our other brothers, the G Dog, we'll call him the G Dog. He was a real Captain America guy growing up, and I think even he's melanated like us. I think even he had reservations about Captain America, about Falcon taking over the Captain America mantle. So I just think, I don't know, a lot of people are traditional. They want Captain America to have taken the super soldier serum. They want it to be Steve Rogers. And so I think this was a bit of a change for everyone. Okay. Before we jump in, um, bro, I know you heard a lot of talk about reshoots. I heard a lot of talk about reshoots, which inflated uh, the budget. You uh, had your hand in making a cinematic production yourself. Does that typically happen when they see things, when they watch I guess the rough draft of the movie, and they say this isn't good, this isn't gonna sell? Is that why they did all that, or are there just artistic things that they want to fine tune when they look at the movie and then do a reshoot or reshoots?
Uh, I'll answer your question by saying yes and maybe. You know, the producers, the writers, the director, may have looked at what they call dailies, which would be the footage that they shot for the day or the footage that they shot for the week, and realized that their goals were not being met, or what they thought was in the script and would translate well to the screen didn't translate that well, or communicate what they wanted to communicate as effectively as they thought it would be. Um, for me, when I watched the movie, I just feel like there was so much there was so much opportunity to tell a large story, and to sell Sam as Captain America, but a Captain America that is clearly not Steve.
Okay. Well, with that, I have the embed screen here, so we're gonna take a quick look at some of the images there, and then the cast, and that will give a nice lead in for what we saw and observed. Abdul, quick question. I don't know that you're into this type of thing. Did you see it? Are you, do you like the Avengers, Marvel, Captain America? Yeah, let me know if you saw it there in the chat. Some people don't like the theater experience and have ways of watching it at home. So maybe you didn't go to the theater and watch it. But okay. So I'm going to pull up the embed right now. Please smash that like button and keep letting us know what you guys think there in the chat. All right. So I used this image for my pre-video. That's the Red Hulk punching the shield, the vibranium shield. And I think in the actual movie, I think he had the wings. The wings were protecting him as well. Let me scroll down here. Let's see. So the director was Julius Ona. All right. The writers were Rob Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, and Dalen Musin. And it starred Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, Danny Ramirez, and others. These are some images from the movie. I think he wore the white suit in the beginning, and the final act he wore the blue suit. Let's see. Yeah, there's some images there of the Red Hulk there at the bottom. Those are trailers. That IMAX poster right there. There's the Red Hulk towering over him. I think, bro, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Hulks are 7 feet, right? They grow pretty tall.
Oh wow, bro! I'm not I'm not that much of a Hulk aficionado. I'm not sure if he's supposed to be 7 feet or higher. I mean, that sounds correct. I've seen videos that spoke about why Bruce Banner in the MCU, every movie he's getting shorter. So I can't say for sure if the Red Hulk is supposed to be 7 feet, or 8 feet or more. Uh, but he looks pretty tall, standing in front of that IMAX text.
Yeah, in this depiction, he's certainly towering above Captain America, Sam Wilson. Abdul Gain says, I have not seen it yet. Spoilers don't bother me. Outside of doctor's appointments, I have not been to many other places in the last few weeks. Okay, we're gonna catch up offline, Abdul. All right. So yeah, so there are some photos there. There's Sam that looks like the last part of the movie. There's Sam and his sidekick's name. I can't remember his sidekick's name. There they are, Sam, the sidekick, and Isaiah at the White House before things jump off. That second image, I think that's Sam. They're at what's his name? The bad guy. I'm going to scroll down and we're going to see his name anyway. So it starred. Okay, Anthony Mackie played Sam Wilson, Captain America. Harrison Ford played President Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. John Hurt died. He played that role in earlier MCU movies. Joaquin Torres, that's his sidekick. Joaquin Torres was played by Danny Ramirez. Shira Haas played Ruth Bat Seraph. Carl Lumbly played Isaiah Bradley. Samuel Stearns. Okay, so they were in Samuel Stearns' hideout / prison. All right. So Tim Blake Nelson, he came back and played Samuel Stearns. Giancarlo Esposito played Sidewinder. I'm sure this will come up in our discussion, but a lot of people were disappointed in the amount of time that Giancarlo Esposito was actually in the movie. And he was in there in the beginning, and then he disappeared, and then he was back at the end. Zosha Rockamore played Leela Taylor. Okay, Jonas Hucker Johansson played Copperhead. Let's see. I'm not going to read over everyone. The Prime Minister Ozaki, that was a prominent character. I don't remember the French Prime Minister or President, and these were all minor characters here. All right, so yeah, let's jump in. So, bro, I'll let you go first. Did you have any key takeaways, thoughts, disappointments, or things you liked about the movie? Hold on, Salchi, the Equalizer says that the Hulk is 8 foot 2 inches in the MCU movies. Interesting. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, did you have, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Well, bro, if I had to give it a grade, I would grade it a C plus. I just felt as though the script was the script was just not up to par. I would love to see, a director's cut or like an ultimate edition cut or a whatever cut to see like what didn't make it into the film. Um, I, I just feel as though the wrong people were in the, the the wrong people were making creative decisions that could have made this movie great. There were a couple of scenes where Sam spoke Spanish. I think there was a scene where he spoke Japanese. I think they could have gone back to that several times. I think the scene between where Sidewinder confronts Sam and Sam doesn't have shield or his wingsuit. I thought that scene could have been so much more. That scene probably could have been a chase scene uh, on a freeway. Um, you know, uh, it could have been cars, motorcycles, along with one of the flight suits. There was a lot of opportunity. There was a lot of opportunity there, but the opportunity was definitely missed. Um, I also thought that there could have and should have been a scene where President Ross was being debriefed as to some of the metahumans or some of the superpower beings that popped up on their radar. Um, the President Ross character, spoke to Sam about reforming the Avengers, but he didn't really say why. So I would have loved to seen where President Ross is being debriefed about characters like Blade, or characters like Ghost Rider, or a character like Namor, or Namor, as he was called in Black Panther 2. And maybe President Ross says, well, set up a meeting because I want to talk to Queen Shuri as to why she made contact with this Namor person. So I think there was a lot of opportunity to lay down and establish possible storylines for the future.
Okay. Well, I have, and I'm going to ask you a question about visual effects when I get done, because I heard some rumblings in the entertainment sector about the visual effects from Marvel and Disney in general. But as a writer myself, what stood out to me was the story. There were numerous elements of the story that were callbacks to the previous Captain America movies. I mean, this was more of a spy geopolitical type of thing versus an intergalactic thing with aliens. So the Isaiah Bradley piece where he heard something, and other people in the room saw something on their digital devices or heard that song playing, and they got programmed to shoot the president. That was to me that was a callback to the Winter Soldier chip and Bucky hearing those words. So there was that, and there was at that point Sam's quest to exonerate Isaiah. To me, that reminded me of Steve's quest to exonerate Bucky. Okay, so they went back to that storyline, and also since you mentioned Giancarlo Esposito and his character in Sam, that scene reminded me of Winter Soldier when Winter Soldier was trying to take out Steve's Captain America and Black Widow when they were up there on the street, and he was basically emptying the clip and trying to blow them up. It looked almost like the exact same scene to me when Giancarlo Esposito was trying to take out uh, uh, Sam. Um, so to me, there were just a lot of callbacks to what was done, and that's fine. But I think you want to see something a little more new and novel. Because I mean, obviously, fans who hadn't seen it, they wouldn't know that. They wouldn't know that they'd done that concept before. But you want to see something new, and there might have been something else there that was done before. In terms of tying up loose ends from previous stories, I did like that they did bring in some of those storylines from the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie. So they brought in the estranged father daughter thing with Thaddeus Ross and Betty, but also the Samuel Stearns character, because at the end of Incredible Hulk, we see his head start to swell, but we never saw or heard from him again. And so I thought that there was cool that they tied all that up for us and brought him back. And also the Eternals. Even though it wasn't a very good movie, you still have this celestial sticking out of the ocean going like this. And I thought that was a very, very clever way of addressing that. So this is where the adamantium is going to come from. And that thing is just not sitting there in the ocean. All the countries have realized it. They've gone to explore it, and there's a rare metal there that's gonna lead to many scientific breakthroughs. So I thought that was good. So there were some elements of the story that repeated, and there were some loose ends that they tied up from previous movies. I didn't think it was a bad movie. It's been getting a lot of bad press. I didn't think it was that bad. I don't think it was great enough for me to go back and see it 2 to 3 times. You know, a really good, a really strong movie, you're gonna go 2 to 3 times, maybe more, to see it again and again. And that's when you see things that you didn't see before. But this one, maybe I'd go see it a second time, but certainly not a third or a fourth. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you this visual effects question. You know, you're an aficionado on visual effects, and some people slammed the visual effects of this movie. I mean, once I get in my seat and I get my popcorn and I'm being entertained, I'm good. But did any of the visual effects stand out to you in terms of being substandard, or they could have done this or that more effectively, or that looks kind of cheap? Did you notice any of that when you were watching the movie?
As far as the visual effects goes, I didn't have I didn't have a problem with any of that. Um, Typically with those types of films, um, if it would just be cheaper to shoot a lot of scenes on a green screen stage or a blue screen stage, and I can tell that some of those sets were not actually real. Some of those sets were actually set up on green screen and blue screen stages, even though a set may have been an apartment, or a set may have been a a a side street, or the outside of a warehouse. Um, Even though it looked real, there's just something about there's just something about the way people react to what's around them, and that if a human being is on a small green screen set, they're going to move as though they're on a small green screen set. So any of the major effects I had no problems with. I did I did have some problems with some of those fight scenes. Some of those fight scenes looked a little WWE. Um, in that opening scene where Sam and Joaquin, uh, you know, go and stop Sidewinder and his crew. Um, there were some very WWE looking fight moves in that scene. So, some of these actors, if they don't have the time to master these moves, they should just let the stunt people do it, and just let the video editors you know intercut it, or just edit it so that it looks like the actors are actually doing some of those moves.
You know what? That raises another question. Were you surprised? I was surprised at some of the punishment that Sam was taking. He was taking daggers. He got that axe. He got bludgeoned with that axe from Sidewinder, and I was looking and thinking, okay, he's really taking some punishment that maybe a mere mortal without the super soldier serum, that would have taken down a lot of combatants. That stood out to me when I was watching the movie. Did you notice that?
It did look as though he had taken some damage that would have slowed the average person down. Um, who's to say what else he's taken? Uh, so, I mean, it's typical in those Marvel movies, for the regular humans to take a lot of damage and to just keep on going. Kind of like Black Widow or Hawkeye. Um, that's that's the usual for those films and for the MCU. So I wasn't. I mean, I was a little surprised, but not surprised. So I was, it was good to see at the end of the film. After Sam battled the Red Hulk, you did see his arm in a sling, and he had some band aids on. So that was good to see that they acknowledged that like he was in a bad situation, and he just barely made it out. So
Okay, I liked that they brought back the raft from Civil War. So again, that was something that was brought forward from one of the previous movies, and I thought that it was what's the word, ironic that President Ross actually wound up in the raft along with Samuel Stearns. I did like the fact that they brought Liv Tyler back as Betty Ross, and they had that moment at the end. Did you notice, this is going back to the actual cinematography? Were you able to see? I mean, and you might have to watch it more than once. How all the reshoots didn't go together? I mean, did any of it? Did it seem like one seamless show to you, or did you see some parts where you said, okay, that didn't fit, or that they must have reshot that? Were you able to see those incongruities?
um, none of that stood out to me per se. What stood out to me was some of the major action sequences. You can tell they had shot with uh, you know cameras that would have looked really good on an IMAX screen or in 3D. So the the dogfight sequences with the wingsuits in the jets. What uh, Toward the end of the film, um, I'm not sure that was probably shot with an IMAX camera. So everything looked really big, and like where the where Sam and Joaquin were in relation to where the cameras were, where the jets were, where that celestial, sticking out of the ocean. All those shots looked really big. So I feel like there were scenes that were meant for IMAX, and those scenes looked different from the more intimate scenes, where they clearly used a smaller camera.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that IMAX. I'm a novice to uh, uh, the cinematography and the cameras and the visual effects, but it sounds like there are specific cameras that they use for IMAX. From what you're saying. Okay, well, it sounds like so they put some pieces down for what's coming next. So there, it sounds like there will be at least one more Avengers movie. I've heard that. Well, I heard that Chris Evans is coming back to some degree. Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Doctor Doom. But Samuel Stearns said in the Easter egg that others are coming, which was a little reminiscent of the end of the Justice League when Lex Luthor said, basically said Steppenwolf is coming. So I've heard that was another multiverse reference. So we don't know who the big bad guy is going to be. Is it? And then interestingly, it sounds like they're considering giving Jonathan Majors his job back. So we don't know yet who the overarching villain is going to be yet. But certainly something is coming. The MCU's not folding just yet, so there's gonna be more stuff in the pipeline coming. Speaking of which, we're at 34 minutes. We'll hang out for about another 10. Speaking of the MCU and other things coming. So the Thunderbolts are coming. That looks interesting. No one has a quote unquote superpower. So these are all humans who are, trained militarily in. Bucky's got his arm. That looks interesting. But have you seen the Fantastic Four trailer? And what did you think about it?
Wow. A very interesting take and a very interesting approach to set the movie back into the 1960s. I'd be very curious to see how do they bring them into the MCU and integrate them into the current timeline. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of interesting choices happening there, and I'd be very curious to see how they're going to make this work. So I mean, everything to me, I mean, from the costumes and the sets and the special effects, all that looked great. But how are they going to integrate them into the current timeline? So we'll see.
Any thoughts on uh uh oh geez, I'm having a brain freeze. Pedro playing Mr. Fantastic. I personally would have liked to have seen John Krasinski play him like he did in Multiverse of Madness, but I thought that the thing that looks about right. That looks more like what we saw in the comic book. But any thoughts on Pedro Pascal playing Mr. Fantastic?
Well, Pedro, he's very charismatic, so it'll be interesting to see how does he play Reed, who is super smart, like one of the smartest humans on planet Earth. So literally, so it'll be. I mean, and Reed was kind of portrayed as being uncool in previous films and kind of like uncool in the comics. So it'll be a fresh take. He'll be a very charismatic, suavecito, take to Reed Richards. So I'm looking forward to it.
I was going to say also the Galactus, the images they've given us of Galactus is looks very menacing. I mean, he's like huge, and he's casting this huge shadow over, I guess, New York City. So that looks exciting. I will say, me and G Dog, we were talking about this last night about in terms of the timeline for Captain America 4 and introducing a Wolverine or the X-Men. That's interesting because going back to what you said about the timeline, how are they going to integrate that in? If they're just finding the adamantium, that means that Wolverine does not exist in this universe yet because they have to put it on his skeleton and he has to become Wolverine. So I think some of us were looking at the movie and thinking that as well. How does this fit into the timeline? Are they going to multiverse him in somehow, or is the Wolverine going to be younger relative to all of the Avengers and all the characters that we've been seeing up to this point? Yeah. Okay. And the last thing I'll say is, hey, in the movie when Sam was battling the Red Hulk, and he says, "I'm going to Haynes Point," that's a real park. The cherry blossoms, that's real. That's a real thing in Washington D.C. and that's a real park. I go to that park. I've gone to that park to walk around, and now that I have a bike, I've gone to that park to bike. And people barbecue at that park. People play golf at that park. So that's a real reference. I was looking at the movie last night and I was thinking, oh yeah, it's Haynes Point Park. I go there all the time. So yeah. All right, bro. Well, we're just about at 40 minutes. I want to respect your time, and I think we both need to eat. And uh, I think this wasn't the worst movie that they've created. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it certainly wasn't one of the worst movies. So if this, I guess, if this was Siskel and Ebert, I'd give it a 3.5, something like that. Maybe that's generous, but I'll give it a 3.5. I mean, for all the flack that it's gotten in the lead up, it's over 50%. What say you?
I would say I really I'm so glad that you brought up was that Haynes Park?
Yeah, Haynes
Is
Point
that what you
Park.
said? Haynes Point Park. Okay, so one of my thoughts, walking out of Brave New World was that the Winter Soldier, uh, Captain America Winter Soldier, because I've visited you in DC a couple of times and I've seen the tourist areas. When I watch the Winter Soldier for the first time, and when I catch it sparingly, that felt real. Like, obviously super soldiers like Cap and Bucky don't exist, but because there was so much scenery in and around of the DC area, that movie felt real to me. It felt tangible. When I walked out of Brave New World, I thought, well, it just felt really small, and it didn't connect me to the DC area the way Captain America Winter Soldier did. And so there's a definite experience gap or experience lag that I had watching Brave New World versus watching Winter Soldier. Was that Winter Soldier, they show you parts of DC that feel real and feel intimate and feel very tangible. But in Brave New World, it just felt like there was a lot of blue screen stages and green screen stages, and that experience was not there for me. Overall, I would give it a C plus. I think the writers could have done better, should have done better, and should have opened up that world a little more for the audience. From time to time, I see content, or I'll read an article that says that the heroes and villains are limited to the writer's imaginations. I just felt like some of the creativity that should have made it onto the screen was just stifled. And hopefully we'll get to see that in another cut, whether it's the director's cut or the ultimate cut or the MCU cut. Hopefully there's another cut of this movie at some point.
Okay, yeah, and going back to your point about that was a really good point about the Winter Soldier movie, Captain America 2. Yeah, you start off that movie in the park with Sam and Steve running around, and that part of DC, I think that was near the monument and the tidal basin. So this just the way they placed the movie, and then even when all the sky carrier, the sky boats, whatever, the ships went crashing into the Potomac. Yeah, they really gave you a nice sense of Washington D.C. And in this one, you got all those scenes at the White House, and then you got these scenes at Haynes Point Park, and then that was it. So yeah, that's a good observation in terms of setting and placement. Okay, all right. Well, I think this is a good place to wrap up. Before we go, bro, do you think that superhero fatigue is a real thing? I'm sure you've heard that term. Do you think people are tired of these movies, or do you think that they just after phase, I think it was phase four, after phase four, they just weren't done well?
Um, I would say if there is a fatigue, the fatigue's going to set in, when you're no longer satisfied with the level of entertainment that you're getting. Um, so there has to be something fresh, something new about each film. Um, on my way home from work, I was thinking about how fresh and how innovative Ant Man what Ant sorry Ant Man one was. Ant Man one was very creative. It forced you to look at our world in different ways because of how small Ant Man could be, and then once he got to be 1 inch or like a half an inch tall, it made the rest of the world look. We got to see our world from his point of view, which was a man who was a quarter-inch tall. So and they had a lot of fun in Ant Man one. Like you can see and experience and tell that uh, pretty much most of the staff, the actors, the special effects artists were having a good time while they were making that film. Um, so yeah, those things translate well, and then also side note, uh, I was lucky enough to catch the movie Den of Thieves, which when I saw the trailer years ago with Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. When I saw the trailer years ago, to me the movie looked average, but when I watched it, it was not average. It was kind of like an update version an updated version of the movie Heat with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer. But just everything was updated, and there was a tension throughout the film that you knew there was going to be some sort of like a big action scene toward the end where the cops dealt with the robbers, but just that steady climb, like the tension of the movie just kept escalating and escalating and escalating. So maybe for some of these films, for some of these stories, they're going to need new directors that can read the script but see something that the producers and the writers don't see. Oh wait.
Yeah, so I was watching another post movie analysis last night when I got home, and this goes back to the writing. I think one of the really cool things about phases 1 through 4 is that everything was interconnected, and that's what I really appreciated about the Celestial Island and Dr. Stearns, is that they connected everything. And I think the writers have to be careful about not going too far off in this direction here to the point where it's not interconnected with the rest of what's going on. And I think that's part of the problem now, is that, in phases 1 through 4, at the end of the first Avengers movie, we saw Thanos. We saw him put the gauntlet on. So we knew, okay, this guy is doing something. Okay. And in the aftermath of Endgame, they've just been putting out stuff and we don't really know who's doing what or where it's going. We had Kang for a while until Jonathan Majors got into trouble, but even then I still didn't get the feel that it was it was building towards something, or it was some sort of overall plot was unfolding that they're eventually going to have to huddle up and try to oppose. Last question, I promise. I know I keep saying this. There were some more observations about Sam's suit. It was a mixture of, he had the shield, he had the jetpack, the wings, he had almost an Ant-Man like mask, or the quantum tube mask. So it looked like he was like an amalgamation of things. Did you have any thoughts on his suit, or were they just trying to make up for the fact that he didn't take the super soldier serum? Or when you're watching that, did you have any thoughts on that? And this is the last question, because it's 50 minutes.
Well, I've felt for years, since I saw the character in Winter Soldier, if he's gonna be flying at certain altitudes, he should have some sort of a helmet on. And I would also go a step further and say that uh, those in helmet scenes, or those in HUD scenes where in the Iron Man movies with Robert Downey Jr., you can see his face inside of his helmet, and you can see graphics that are close by, and that he can look at them and see what's happening. So if you're going to put a helmet on Anthony Mackie, I think they should have done some sort of callback to the Iron Man in helmet scenes, where you can see Sam's face, but you can also see uh, holographic graphics that he can see and react to. So I don't have any problem with there being a helmet, or his or his flights, or his wingsuit evolving from film to film to film to film.
All right, bro. I think this is a good place to wrap up. Do you have anything else? Now you're muted.
No, bro. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here.
All right, bro. Love you.
Love you
Peace.
too. Peace. All right, everyone. I'm gonna wrap the stream up. Thank you to everyone who watched. Yeah, if you're watching on the playback, the whole book spiel is at the beginning. I won't do it again right now, but please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have thoughts on Captain America 4: Brave New World, please leave those in the comments section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I think I'm going to go back to some of my Star Trek content that's pretty popular here, and some other things that I want to do, some other creative things I want to do here. So look out for that. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. And you know what? I'll go out with this. You've got to do better, Senator. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.